guys, it's Christy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do all things Disney, Harry Potter, and makeup, and today is a makeup look. I did one of my tried and true zombie looks. I always mix those up, but zombies are kind of one of my favorite things to do because I really like how the torn away face piece kind of over at my mouth looks. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to have like teeth over your mouth, and I like the halvesies of it, like how half of it's off and the other half is regular. I don't know. Something about it, that's just how I like it. And, you know, I mix it up. Sometimes I do like the exact same look in different colors, but sometimes I mix up the different looks, which is what I did here. I did kind of like, I don't know. Guys, I don't know. Apparently I can't speak today. I don't know. All right. Anyway, I just mixed it up a little bit instead of doing like teeth on both sides of my face and one half over my mouth. I didn't do teeth on the other side. It was just more like kind of gaping holes, I guess, but I did it in white. This is a green and purple look. So I went with green and purple. And when I get to the green, I'll tell you what I did there, but I just kind of wanted to like talk to you about this color scheme. I also used white because, you know, bones, right? Anyway, so this look took, you know, I stop in the process while I'm doing it, and I'll stop and go use the bathroom. I'll stop and record a transition, or I'll stop and I don't talk to a family member or something. I don't know. I'll stop during the process and do something else. But in terms of actual doing the makeup time period, it took right at an hour, with breaks in between, obviously. But, you know, the whole time of recording was right at an hour. And I think I recorded all of it. There was, I think, some of the shading pieces, I forgot to hit the record button, but it was like for 5 minutes, so it's not that impactful. It did oddly, I don't know why, because if it's only an hour of recording, it was across 3 different SD cards. Like the intro section was on one SD card because it was the end of a card that had other makeup looks on it, and then the body of it was in another SD card and it ran out of memory, and then the very last section is on another SD card. So it's weird. I don't know why the SD card only held about an hour of recording. Normally it holds like 2 or 3. I don't know. I need larger SD cards, let's be real. I have 4 that I use, and they're all 64 gigabytes. 64 gigabytes. And I usually fill all 4 of them up in one weekend of doing makeup looks. And I'll do 2 to 3 makeup looks usually on a weekend, sometimes 4. Specifically, like this past weekend when I recorded this. Now, and you're not seeing this close to the time that I recorded this because I've got stuff way scheduled out in advance. But it was a holiday weekend. It was actually Memorial Day weekend when I recorded this, and I had already done 3 looks, and this was my last look. So, was it my last look? No, it wasn't. It was my 3rd of the 4 looks. So I did 1 on Saturday, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and 2 on Monday, the Memorial Day weekend, when I recorded this. And this was the 3rd of the 4 looks, and I was on the 3rd card that filled it completely up, like for the most of it. And then I moved to the 4th card, and I was like, oh no, hopefully I have enough time. But luckily the 4th look I did literally only took 30 minutes, so it all worked out. But yeah, I will use like usually 2 to 4 looks per weekend. When I do it, I don't do makeup every weekend. I do try to do it frequently just because I love doing it. But yeah, I need larger SD cards, right? I'm going to put that on my Christmas list, or I'll just buy them. Either way, I don't know. But anyway, this is not Memorial Day weekend. You're seeing this. There is no theme to this other than green and purple. And because it was definitely closer to summer when I was recording this, I wanted to make sure that the green was not Christmassy. And I'll get into what I did to make sure it was not Christmassy when I get to the green. let's go ahead and get started. I've been talking for 5 minutes already and we've not even started. So I started off with my Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner. Now, if you know me, you know the reason I use this eyeliner is because it doesn't smudge. And it's easy to cover up unless you're using like white, and then it's not so easy. But it's easy to cover up when I use foundation. So the whole purpose of the Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner is literally to draw out my look. So that's what I did. I drew out the look that I wanted, and if I messed it up a little bit, I just got a little paper towel or something with a little bit of water on it and wiped it off and then fixed it. I do this with almost every single look. I can't say every single look because sometimes my looks won't require me to piece stuff out and do different colors. It can just be all one color, or like I don't have an exact format of how I'm going to do the colors. So I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to do this section and this section and not separate it out and just kind of blend things in, which was like actually the fourth look that I did, which you've already probably seen that video. I posted it way before this one because it was for a specific time period. So anyway, it was kind of like the pastel tie-dye-ish look, if you guys remember that. I don't know if you do or not. Go check it out if you don't. And if you can't find it right away, if you go to my makeup playlist, it's there. Anyway, excuse me. Getting down to it, it took about an hour, like I said. I drew out everything with my Too Faced Better Than Sex. It's not exactly perfect when I draw stuff out because, again, I pretty much can cover where I want to cover unless I'm doing white. I do try to be more exact where I know I'm going to put white because you can see the Too Faced Better Than Sex through the white. But in general, I don't care if it gets, like, if I'm too heavy-handed and it's a thicker line, it doesn't really matter to me. I just draw out what I want so that I know when I'm going in to do the actual colors that it's, I don't go over the line of where I expected it to be, if that makes sense. I am not a perfectionist at makeup. I am not a professional. I just do it for fun. And so I'm not a perfectionist at makeup, but I am a perfectionist, if that makes sense. I want it to look good, but I'm not overly crazy or freakish if one line's not straight. I don't really care. It's art. To each their own, whoever thinks it's art. Anyway, God, I'm so rambly today. 8 minutes of rambling. All we've talked about is the Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner. Let's get started. So I didn't use the glue. Like, I use Elmer's glue stick to push down my brows when I'm doing makeup, and I'm not going to do the brows. I didn't use the glue because I drew out my eyebrows, but I did use it in that one section where there's a big blob around my eye. I did use it there. Now, I started off with purple, so all the purple sections I used Sunset Foundation. Sunset Foundation has a whole lot of, well, they have like 10, I believe, different foundation shades. So you can go out there and buy the whole package. I think it's like $100 and something. It's not overly crazy because if you think about how much foundation normally costs, you're looking at average $30, $40 for average foundation. Not store brand, like I'm talking like average, normal, like Ulta, Sephora type like foundation. I don't use store-bought brands. I do use store brands, obviously, but I don't use like supermarket brands. Like I use stuff like Lancome or whatever. I do have one expensive foundation that's ridiculously priced. I'm not even going to mention that one. But anyway, Sunset Foundation, you can get the whole set of 10 for $100 and something. It comes with 10 more colors. You've got like black, white, green, purple, red, orange, yellow, blue. Oh, there's 2 more colors. Gray. Pink, I think. Yeah, I think that's the 10 colors. Anyway, so I use the purple in the areas that I want a purple. Now, foundation, Sunset Foundation, just like other foundation, you've got to set it, right? So I use Anastasia Beverly Hills setting powder, and I plop that on, and then I kind of brush it off to make sure that it doesn't transfer or smudge. It does the trick. It really does. Like, because before I wasn't really using it, and then things would smudge in together and it would get frustrating. When I use the Anastasia, it doesn't have to be Anastasia Beverly Hills. That's just what I had available. When I use the setting powder, it sets it, and it's golden. Good, we're good, we're rolling, whatever. All right, now, once I finished that, I moved on to the green. Now, like I said I would tell you about the green. So the green Sunset Foundation is like a very Christmassy green. Like, I mean, it's a solid green. It's not like dark green, it's not light green. It's like a regular Christmassy green that you think. So I didn't want it to look too Christmassy, so I took a little bit of the white, and I would say it's like 3 parts black, or 3 parts green, 1 part white, and mixed it on the back of my hand a little bit before applying it. That way it made the green a little bit lighter than Christmas green. Like I said, I didn't want Christmas green for this look because it was Memorial Day weekend when I was recording this. Again, you're not seeing this on Memorial Day weekend. And if you are, that's amazing, but it's probably scheduled out for a year in advance. But I really doubt you'll see this on Memorial Day weekend. Because it's not intended to be a Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, it's green and purple. If I wanted a Memorial Day weekend, I would have done red, white, and blue, right? Anyway, I am so rambly today. Gosh, I hope you guys are okay with that, because normally these videos are like 5 minutes long, and we're already at 11 minutes, and we've only gotten to the green color, which, I mean, this is the majority of the color, because the green's like pretty much all over. Anyway, when I was done with that, I set it again with the Anastasia Beverly Hills setting powder. And then I went into the white. Now, like I said with the white, I try not to get it over the lines of my Too Faced Better Than Sex, because it will kind of show through. So I'm much more precise with that, and I use such a smaller brush and more precision to it. It usually takes the longest when I do like white, because I'm doing the teeth area and all that kind of stuff. So I'm much more precise, and it was also Sunset Foundation. I have other brands in white, I have other brands in green, I have other brands in purple, but I find that the Sunset Foundation sets the best with the Anastasia Beverly Hills setting powder. The others set just fine too, but this one transfers less to my brush, because I'm using a brush, like a fluffy brush, to add the translucent powder, setting powder, whatever you want to call it, to my skin, and it transfers less to the brush. So that's kind of why I like the foundation more. Any's fine, and it actually dries out matte, which is what I prefer most of the time. Some of the others that I have will not dry down matte. The setting powder will make it look matte, but they don't, without it, some of them don't dry down matte. So I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. I'm not partial to any foundation, really. Well, actually, I think I am partial to Sunset in terms of like large areas of skin. It's the easiest to apply because it's in a squirt bottle. You put it on the back of your hand or directly to the brush, and you just brush it out. Whereas the others come in like little pods, and you have to go back and forth to the pod. So for large areas, yes, Sunset, but I'm not really partial to any particular brand of foundation for these colors. I have a couple of different brands that I like, and I like them all. I have Marahan, I have Graftobyne, you name it. Now, I will say, since we're done with all the main colors, I will say I do prefer Graftobyne when it comes to the details. It's hard when you're doing such small areas and you're tracing out, which is what takes the longest when you're like detailing out everything, like all tracing around all the areas I use black Graftobyne cream foundation, and it's in a little pot. I do find that if you use the Sunset, because it's a squirt bottle, you're wasting a lot of product. So I do prefer the pod for that. So that's what I did with the black is Graftobyne. I just used a very thin brush, which was a Graftobyne brush actually, and applied the lines. I need to replace it. It's getting a little frayed at the edges, which, you know, not great. And then I did all the details. And then I took a little bit of a larger brush, and I kind of smudged some lines. So I like to smudge some lines in some areas. Some I like to have more straight. But you know what? Before that, that's like my last step before I do eyes. I did get some green eyeshadow. I think I used my Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina, the orange, like square palette, the large square palette. It's Norvina Anastasia Beverly Hills. It has like butterflies on it, and you open that, and the orange one, it's got some greens and yellows in there. And I did use some eyeshadows to do a little bit of shading and dimension. in the green area, and I also did that with purple, and I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina purple palette with the butterflies on it, the big square one. So I did use those to do a little bit of shading. I didn't do too much shading on this look because I had a whole lot of details drawn out because it's a zombie look. Let's be real. The zombie looks, there's so much detail going on. It's a little bit harder to actually do a whole lot of shading. So I did do that before the graphifying details. However, once I was done with all that, of course I did eyeliner and mascara. Now the eyeliner, I didn't use actual eyeliner. I used black eyeshadow, and I don't remember which palette I used it from, but it was either my ColourPop Foxy palette or one of my Morphe palettes, because like all these palettes I'm talking about, I have sitting here with my makeup, my fun makeup, like this where I sit. Across the room, there's like a big box, one of those not Tupperware, like, you know, where you put Christmas decorations, like a clear tub or whatever. I have like a bunch of wigs in there and a bunch of makeup palettes that I use specifically for these looks, sitting over there. And that's where I keep those. I don't use those palettes for regular makeup looks. I used to back in the day when, like, you know, colorful looks were popular. They're not so popular anymore, so I don't use them anymore. I mainly stick to like the natural colors, the nudes, the kind of like pinkish, kind of brownish, whatever colors for regular makeup. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I did a little bit of that shading with those palettes, and then the eyeliner, of course, I said it came from one of those other two palettes. And then my mascara, it was NYX. I just keep a bottle of NYX over here. I do need to replace it. There's not much left in it, so, but I don't really use a whole lot of mascara anyway because I put lashes on, but I do want my lashes to blend in with the false lashes, so I do use a little bit. And from there, the lashes I use, actually, you know, Kiss is my favorite. If you guys watch me, you know Kiss is my favorite. I'm out of Kiss right now because it says I'm out of Kiss lashes. I used up all my Kiss lashes so many times that I had to throw them out. They were starting to fall apart. Like 50 times is about the amount that you can get use out of them. So I had another set of lashes I hadn't used before, and they're Scandal eyelashes. They're smaller, they're not as dramatic, but I do like them a lot. You can't even feel them on, which is amazing. So I feel like these lashes would actually be good if you wear lashes regularly rather than on these crazy looks, but I don't wear lashes regularly unless it's like some extreme circumstances, like I'm in a wedding or something, then I'll wear falsies. But in general, I don't typically wear false lashes, just day to day. It's not my thing. But these like really discreet lashes would be great for that. But right now, that's what I'm using for my makeup looks because I'm out of my fun lashes. I need to buy some more. I'm just lazy. Yeah, so after that, obviously you guys know that I usually put the contacts in first, which I did for the one eye because I can see out that one. But I used a whiteout contact for one of my eyes. So I couldn't put that on till last. So I actually did leave that eye uncolored, and it's the one where it's got the purple around it, until the very end. And that's when I put the contact in, and then did the purple around that eye, and then did the drawing around that eye. So there is that, as you guys can see from the video. But then I can't remember what brand those contacts are because I have so many contacts. I have like 40 pairs of different contacts, and they're all from different brands. I can't remember. And both of these are two different brands, by the way. So yeah, I don't remember. And then last, I did my wig. All of my wigs, with the exception of like two, come from Temu because they're so cheap, and all I use them for is these looks. So I don't spend a whole lot of money on wigs. But yeah, so that's it for this look. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry I rambled so much. It took like 20 minutes. That's ridiculous. Sorry, guys. But yeah, let me know what you think about the look. It took about an hour without breaks. With breaks, it was probably more like 3. Let's be real. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a good one. Bye.